Welcome to IEE SmartTalk. Today we're going to talk about storage as a solution for renewable energy sources. Pat, can you tell me about some of the renewable portfolio goals in the state of New Mexico?
Absolutely, Lisa, and thank you for having me here today. We've got some aggressive portfolio goals in New Mexico. By 2020, we are to get 20% of our energy from renewable sources, but we can only do it by increasing customer bills 3%.
Can you define what distributed generation means?
For us, distributed generation is on the customer's site. So this would be customer-owned, customer-sited. It's mostly solar in our service territory, but it's definitely customer-owned, customer-sited.
Pat, let's talk about the Prosperity Storage Project that your company's running. Can you tell us some of the details about that?
It is a great project with great partners. We're partnering with Sandia National Labs, two universities in New Mexico, East Penn Manufacturing. All of the partners and all of the components were made in America. And it gives us an opportunity to look at the intermittency of solar generation, how we store for that, and how we can dispatch back into the grid.
How long has that project been running?
It's been up since last September. And actually, the planning for it started in 2006 when we worked on an energy grid storage project. And we had the opportunity to apply for the stimulus grant in 2009, got it in 2011, up and running, and then we have 2 more years on it.
So what are some of the benefits that you've seen demonstrated so far?
Some of the key benefits we've seen are the ability to smooth the solar. The sun comes over the clouds very quickly, in seconds rather than the minutes that it comes from wind. So we've learned how to deal with that very fast intermittency.
Are there any issues related to scaling the storage?
We made sure when we started the project that we planned for the ability to scale, so that while we're working on, 500 kV is not that big, that the modeling is done so that we can take it up to scale.
Do you envision increasing storage as you increase solar on your system?
That is something definitely we would like to do. If you want to make people in power operations crazy, you tell them you're going to add a bunch of solar to your system because the clouds come over the sun in a matter of seconds. So it is definitely something we'd like to do. New Mexico is #2 in the country for solar potential, so we think there's a lot of ability to add solar.
Pat, now I want to turn to distributed solar as a resource in your service territory. What's driving that growth?
Our customers love distributed solar, Lisa. I think it's the 320 days of sunshine that we brag about, and we have over 2,300 customers in our distributed solar program.
Wow, that's huge. Do you expect that to grow significantly over the next few years?
I think so. We have an incredible amount of folks with applications in to put distributed solar on. It's very popular. We have a very environmentally conscious group in New Mexico, and people feel really good about those solar panels.
And are you providing storage as a backup for distributed solar?
Right now we are not providing storage as a backup. We just back it up with our system. We have the capacity to do that, and we're very reliable. And only about 20 of our customers actually have their own battery backup. As we get more customer solar, though, on the system, we'll probably have to look at battery backup.
We've talked a lot about solar, but you also have a lot of wind on your system. What are some of the unique issues associated with wind power?
We do have a lot of wind, Lisa. We have about 6% of our energy coming from wind. And for us, the major issue from wind is it blows at night in the spring, and quite frankly, customers aren't using a lot of electricity during that period of time.
What are you doing to balance your system at night when the wind's blowing but there's not much demand for power?
Well, we get about 60% of our energy from coal. So we have to take those coal plants and take those down at night to let the wind power come onto the system. So that's not the best thing for a coal plant, is taking it up and down pretty quickly.
Do you have any information on how that affects your coal plants?
Well, we know that the starts and the stops age the coal plant more, but what we're doing is working with EPRI and other utilities on a study to get the true impacts and the true costs of that wind integration into the system. That'll give the whole industry an answer that we can figure into our calculations.
We talked earlier about using storage for solar. Are you planning to use storage for wind as well?
We haven't right now. If we get more wind, we would. We would either look into the battery. You can use the same batteries that we use on the PV project. You can also do compressed air. And some companies can use hydro, but in our part of the world in New Mexico, we don't have any water, so we would not be looking at that. Leading candidate would be batteries right now.
Turning on a renewable energy source is not the same as turning on, say, a coal plant or a gas plant. So what are the top 1 or 2 things you've learned over the past few years as you've integrated both wind and solar into your system?
I think there were 2 big lessons that we learned. One is that diversity is better. So if you can spread your wind out, if you can spread your solar out across the state, you get that geographic diversity when the wind blows differently or the clouds go over differently. The second thing we learned was that a lot of people don't understand the issue of intermittency, and that the sun doesn't shine all the time and the wind doesn't blow all the time, and you still need those traditional fossil fuel plants to back that up, and that's been a big education challenge for us.
The PNM Energy Storage Project sounds like a huge step forward in terms of increasing our understanding of how to use storage with renewable energy sources. What do you see as some of your major challenges going forward?
I think educating people about storage and the need for it, especially policymakers, is a great opportunity for us. And I think scaling it up, again, we've built the system to scale it up, but you always hold your breath a little bit when you take something small and turn it into a larger project. We're confident that it will do it, but that will be a challenge for us.
We've had a great discussion today. Thank you, Pat, for joining us at IEE SmartTalk.